My name's Sharon Preston. One of the areas of law that I practice is employment law. Another way that companies scam their employees is by having them what we call off the clock. In other words, you clock in and you clock out, but there's certain periods where you're not getting paid. A real common one is having people come in, let's say 15 minutes, even a half hour prior to their shift to clean their workstation or pick up their safety gear or change into the clothing that's required for the job. The company may say, well, that's not work, that's getting ready for work. But anything that you do and that you undertake that's primarily for the company's benefit is work. If the company's having you come in early or stay late, if it's having you work a half hour before you clock in or 15 minutes after you clock out and not paying you, that's illegal. For instance, in call centers. A lot of call centers will use the computer as the clock for work. So the clock doesn't start until you've loaded up all your programs and you're booted into your programs. Sometimes that takes 10-15 minutes. And the clock starts for pay after all of those programs are loaded up. That's work. That 15 minutes is work you performed and should be paid for. Another example that I've seen is having people come in and pick up safety gear that they need and they must have for working on the job. And the time clock is set after all of those activities. Many times that constitutes 15 minutes, 20 minutes that the person's not getting paid for, or even 10 minutes. People shouldn't have to work for free, even for 10 minutes. Well, commuting back and forth to work is not considered work that's compensable. So the company doesn't have to pay you to commute to work and back. But the company does have to pay you if in the middle of your work day, you have to go from one site to another. So I'd seen cases where, for instance, somebody does, let's say, some construction work on one site, and then they load up in the truck and they go to another site to do the next job. And that transit time from one site to the other may be an hour or half hour. And the company was saying, well, that's not work, so we don't have to pay you for that. That's when your workday starts and you're not released from work for 8 hours, everything is to be paid in between that, except for a bona fide meal break. The best thing you could do is talk to a lawyer that's experienced in these matters, so that lawyer can help you figure out whether you're owed overtime.